Technology is so amazing, isn't it? I love technology.
Am I recording? I don't know if I'm recording or not. Wait, I think I might be too. Okay. So we're recording, right?
I am for sure. Yeah. We're good to go. And I promise you, I will share it to you too. I could Dropbox it to you. Or
Oh, no, it's not a big deal. Okay, do you want me to just start or do you want to introduce me? What do you want?
Yeah, of course. So
She's all excited.
I know, right? It's very exciting. So let me see the best view, because I want to definitely do this. I think.
I laugh.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on the Team Fit Finances call. I'm so excited to have one of our very best, most successful coaches that we have in Team Fit Finances, and is still actively engaged and working her business. So there are lots of successful coaches in our downline, and you know what? Once you get to a certain financial standpoint, sometimes people just cruise. But I will say that props to Ellen, because she's still in it. This is still part of her daily life. It's still part of her lifestyle. It is like so much to the core of exactly who she is, and I love her so much. We've been able to spend some time together at Leadership. We've also been able to spend lots of time together, of course, at Summit. And I think the moment I really knew that there was something fantastic about Ellen was the moment when she brought like 30 people to the luncheon that I was hosting at Summit a couple years ago. I was like, holy moly, like she really like has such a strong team network and support, and it just really speaks volumes to who she is as a person. So elite coach. So proud of everything that you've done, Ellen. Remind me, what is your lifetime rank?
7-star.
Oh, fantastic. You guys have no idea how challenging it is to get to those star diamond ranks. You have no idea. And then to hold them, and OMG, it's a challenge. But I have to say that I just, hats off to you, honey, because you've done so well and in such a short amount of time. And I know that you're so incredibly busy. Like you guys, she has so much going on all the time, but she has done a phenomenal job of truly creating an amazing team culture with Team Play Hard. And she's also a master trainer for Beachbody too. So without further ado, I'm going to put myself on mute. I'm going to mute everybody else too. So you're not interrupted, and I'm going to turn it on over to Ellen. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. If I knew I was going to get all those accolades, I would have been asking to lead this team call a long time ago. In fact, when can I lead the next one? I'm just kidding. It's really cool because I really love Holly too. And actually so many of you guys that I've met at live events too. Isn't that amazing how we do tend to attract people that we end up adoring? That's not a coincidence. I have one of my coaches on here. Hi, Samantha. So Holly asked me if I would be willing to lead a team call, and she bounced a couple of topic ideas off me. One was kind of the road to elite, and the other was team culture. And I thought I would talk about my experience in becoming an elite coach, and then I would save the other one for in case you guys wanted to have me back at a later date. So we'll talk team culture another time. If it looks like I'm crying, I'm not. I'm dealing with some funky, weird first time in my life allergies, so it always looks like I've been crying. All right, so let's see. I thought I would just share my story in 3 parts, basically kind of the beginning, where it started, and the middle, and then where it is now. And do you guys normally go about 30 minutes? What's your story, Holly? About 30 or so? Okay, I'd like to talk fast and then have some time for questions at the end if you guys want. And some of you might know bits and pieces of my story, but I bet a lot of you don't. So I became a coach in 2012. And well, first of all, I wanted to say, let me start with this. Your goals are your goals, because not everyone has a goal to be an elite coach or a 10-star or 15-star or a millionaire. I mean, we all have different reasons for getting on this train, and whatever they are, that's cool. I'm making the presumption that if you're the kind of person that would get up early on a weekend and come onto a team call, or listen to take the time to listen to a recording later, that you're the kind of coach that wants big things. So I'm making that assumption when I prepared the content for this call. And I love that this business is 100% entirely, totally, and completely up to you. Meaning, if you succeed, it's because of you. If you fail, it's because of you. If you're a mediocre coach, it's because of you. It's you. It's all yours. You own this thing. So in the beginning, I enrolled in 2012. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit about that season of my life and my business. And then I want to extrapolate a few lessons from that. And then we'll move on to the middle stage of my business. So in the beginning, I was really, really unhappy. I would say just listening to all the national wake-up calls now for 5 years, that a lot of coaches join us because there is some discontent in their life. I would say that is a common denominator. So not always, but I think that's a prevalent theme. I definitely fit that mold. I was not happy. I was anxious, scared out of my mind about our financial situation. I mean, truly, finances can create a enormous pit in your stomach. It was the first time in my life I'd experienced debt collectors calling my phone. It happened all day. Like, weird numbers would pop up on my phone. They didn't even look like phone numbers. I would get that. They would always leave a voicemail because I never answered the phone. And it would always say in the voicemail to, like, we're going to pause so you can leave and go to a private area. So you can, if this isn't you, hang up now. We're calling about a debt. And then they pause so that you have a second to, like, go into a private spot to listen to the rest of the message. And we were, like, getting foreclosure notices. I had young children. I don't know, you guys, just overwhelming anxiety is really how I would describe how I felt in my life. I was pretty fit. Because like Holly said, I'm a master trainer. I wasn't then, but I was obviously teaching a lot of classes. So I was pretty fit. I was pretty fit. And because I was teaching classes, you have to be happy to teach classes. You've got to look like you're a happy person. You can't do well in the fitness industry, the fitness professional side of things, showing you can't complain, you can't look sad, you can't look depressed, you can't look anxious. You just have to look like the happy person that bounds in with all this energy and a big smile. So I became really, really, really good at that external mask that showed happiness, but it wasn't what was going on the inside. So anyway, I hit to the business with a vengeance. Like, so from right away, I dove in. Of course, I was overwhelmed and confused by it, because that's how this business, I think, is for every single coach who enrolls. There's just so much to figure out. So I remember being overwhelmed. I remember being scared. I remember I definitely thought network marketing was kind of a slimy thing, but I just felt I didn't have any other options, you guys. I didn't have a college degree. I don't really have any, I didn't have any job skills to speak of. No computer skills, no social media skills. I didn't even have the skills that are required to be good at this business. I didn't even have those. I was just good at teaching classes and painting. And, there's not really money in art unless you're, in the really small minority. So I hit the ground running. I did all the things. And when I say I did all the things, I mean I did all the things. If I saw in the breaking news that you could host a Super Saturday, I didn't know what that meant, but I was like, okay, I'll read the FAQ, I'll host a Super Saturday. I think I had 3 people in my living room and that in the house that was being foreclosed. If it said, you know, like, go to Summit, I went to Summit, hit Emerald rank, do the, you know, I did Coach Basics through our Coach Online. I was involved with Team Fit Finances. So I did all of the multiple times the new coach trainings that Holly was offering. And that's actually how I forged relationships with like Jaron and Peggy and Leona from way back then, because we would partner up, some of us. And that's how I met CJ. And that's how I became really, that's why I have a relationship with Team Fit Finances, because of those early on new coach trainings. Okay. So I did all the things. I did all the things that you were asked to do. I didn't want to do all the things. I didn't like figuring out how to do all the things. But I did all the things because I believed that you need to be all in to get big results, which is what I was looking for. So my lessons from this part of my business for you guys today are pretty simple. One, there are people out there in all of our lives right this very split second that look happy, that have a mask, that need a solution. Because people don't wear that side of them publicly, rarely. Actually, the kind of people that we want to attract to us don't. The kind of people we want on our teams, positive people that are trying to get it together and be positive and not feel sorry for themselves and not be victimized by their situation. Those people, they're not public about the shit that they're going through in their lives. The people that are out there complaining and being a victim, we really don't want to attract those kind of people anyway. So my point number 1 is one of hope and excitement that there are people out there like that right now. They've got that mask on. They need a solution. They're trying to be positive. They're trying to show positivity in spite of where they're at. And we have no idea who they are. And we just need to find them. And we can't find them unless we're putting it out there. If my upline hadn't put it out there in a Facebook post, I wouldn't have had this. I wouldn't have found a solution to all that stuff in my gut. My other takeaway, and maybe this isn't for those of you that are on this call right now live. Maybe this is for someone that's going to hear the recording, because I know many of you are really advanced in your businesses. But the reason you decide to do this, that the business calls it the why, is literally like the fuel in your gas tank. So it is a direct correlation to how hard you'll work and how far you'll go is what kind of how bad you want it and why you want it. That stuff that they say about your why, it really is like the gasoline in your tank. So then let's move on to the next phase of my business. So I started well. I said I did all the things. So that means I ran challenge groups, crappy ones. You know how your first few challenge groups are. Like, you've got your mom in there and like nobody's posting. So I did that, but I did it enough that I remember, like, it was so long ago. I think one of my first challenge groups was Brazil butt lift. And I mean, I remember that I would make a little tiny bit of money, but nothing substantial, not early, because that's not the way this business works. It's the whole field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Okay. So, all right. In the middle of this sort of journey that I've been on, well, let's see. Did I skip that one part? Yeah, kind of. It's okay. In 2014, at that point I was a master trainer, and I was driving to an event in California. I'm in Oregon. So I was driving south, and I got a phone call from a area code that said 310, which is California, which is the same area code as like my master trainer boss is. And so I just assumed it was them, and I was driving to an event. So I'm like, oh, they need me to know something about the event. So I answered the phone, and it was not, it had nothing to do with master training. It was Beachbody corporate. And it wasn't like an automated like recording from Carl like we sometimes get. Do you guys ever get those? I'm like, oh my gosh, it really doesn't matter to me, Carl. Like, you can take my number off this list. But anyway, it was Keyshawn Greaves. She recently like was announcing on the National Wake Up Call. So you guys would have heard her big, like crazy excited voice. She's just a spitfire. I didn't know who she was, but it was her on the other end of the phone. And she just said, she was like, hey girl, I'm Keyshawn, and you're so close to elite. You just need one more diamond. You have everything else. You just need one more diamond. So just to set this up a little further, I didn't know what that meant. I mean, I knew what another diamond meant, but I didn't know what elite meant. Yeah, I didn't know what the big to-do was. That wasn't something that I was aware of, or I didn't really know that program. I mean, I'd heard of it, but it wasn't something I was going for. Hold on a second. I need to close the door to my house because my cat will get out. My dogs can let themselves out sometimes. Okay. No, my husband did it. Okay. So she calls and she's like, all you need is one more diamond. Do you think you can do that? And I remember thinking, no. I remember saying no. There was 6 weeks left in the year. And I didn't have anyone even close to being a diamond. And I didn't think at that time that like with 6 weeks left, I remember being really like honest and thinking, no, I don't have anyone even close to that. And I didn't think you could really get there in 6 weeks. So I remember saying no, and she was like, wasn't the answer she wanted to hear, I'm sure. But so I didn't hit elite that year, but I did end up as a premier coach, which is like almost elite. It's just, it's similar qualifications. You don't need to have as many diamonds, and you don't have to have as many points, but I had all the points. I just was a 4-star. You need to be 5. So that's how I ended that year. And then the next 2 years, so 2015 and 2016, I did hit elite. So what I wanted to tell you about that is that the 2015 year that I did hit elite, I still didn't understand the program. I didn't understand what I didn't understand. It's actually like a ridiculously sophisticated formula. It looks like calculus to me. And I didn't understand how to do it. But because I was getting elite points, which I believe you guys can track in my qualifications drop down once you're diamond. I believe you can check in every last Friday of the month at this point of the year. You can see where you rank. It's kind of cool to see where you rank overall in the whole 450,000 coaches. You can see where you rank from an elite standpoint. There's different ways to rank coaches, but and then let's see. So because I was having some decent amount of elite points, I became on the corporate radar. So I was getting, Keyshawn moved out of this region, and so someone else moved into our region. So it's really important that you guys do know who your corporate regional sales team is for your area. And that's pretty easy to find in your Coach Online office. But if you're West Coast, it's like Brittany Adamson, Mary V, Brittany Adamson, and Doug Moss. And so I became on the radar of Doug and Brittany, and they would reach out to me and talk to me. And they would sometimes come to Portland, which isn't really that close to me, but I would road trip to meet with them. They would come like quarterly, and they would meet with I think they would just meet with people in the area that were doing well with their businesses. And so I remember this was a pivotal moment, and I like the word pivotal because I like to think of that image of pivoting, because this is what happened. This is what happened in my business to hit elite. I didn't understand how it worked, but I had a conversation that caused me to pivot in my business activities. So I met with Brittany in Portland, and she assessed kind of how I was spending my time and energy. And she said, you need to pivot. Or she didn't use that word. She said, you need to turn on its head how you're spending your time. And that I should spend 80% of my time inviting and just 20% trying to enrich my team. And that literally was the opposite of what I was doing. I love the enriching the team part. We'll talk about that on part 2 when we talk about team culture. That's the fun part. And also doing training for myself, like doing YouTube videos on, training, listening to Scotty Hobbs on YouTube, that kind of stuff. Figuring out how to get better at graphics and all those things. All of those activities are, I've grown to believe are the bigger waste of our time and energy. And the stuff that kind of makes you feel uncomfortable in the business, reaching out to people, starting new conversations, taking conversations to a different level, redirecting conversations to narrow to talk about our business and solutions. Those are the things that are typically make us squirm, make us uncomfortable, make us self-conscious, make us doubt ourselves, and generally just don't feel, they're not that fun. And so it really was inverting that into spending the bulk of my time starting new conversations, being really in the trenches in my challenge group, which is inviting. Your challenge group is also inviting behavior, so that counts. So taking the people in your challenge group and also messaging them and texting them also, trying to meet new people, trying to add people to your network, all those things, starting new conversations, introducing our solutions into those conversations. Those things are how I began to spend my time and energy. She also told me the way to hit elite is to hit Success Club, recruit new coaches, and then teach those coaches how to hit Success Club. That those three things, I'll say them again: hit Success Club, recruit new coaches, and teach those coaches how to hit Success Club. That those 3 circles, it is where they overlap. If you were to put them in a triangle form, it is where they overlap. It's coaches that have an overlap, where there's middle ground, where all those circles overlap onto each other in the middle. It's where where the overlap is that you hit elite. So that means if you, I have one of my best coaches has not been elite yet because she's missing one of those circles. And that's all it takes, is being out of balance in one of those circles. So she's really good at hitting Success Club, frankly, hits higher numbers than me. She's good at onboarding and finding new coaches, but it's in that duplication, that being able to teach those new coaches to also hit Success Club that she lacks. And I've had this conversation with her. So, and she knows it. So she's just a good example of that. But it could be a different circle missing for you. It could be that you just aren't recruiting well. So you're hitting Success Club. When you do recruit, rarely you're able to teach them how to do it, but you're just not recruiting enough. So it could be that, but it is the balance of those 3. So in recapping, also, I lived in a house. We did lose our home. We lost our home. We filed bankruptcy. We ended up renting a house out in the country, and it didn't have good internet at all. And I was kind of freaking out about my business because we run an online business. So, I got to hurry up here. So I started going to Starbucks, which I didn't enjoy doing. Every day I would teach a class, go to Starbucks. I would sit there and power hour because I had good Wi-Fi, and I would turn my phone off, block out all my tabs on my phone, on my computer, and focus on all I just invite for an hour. That's all I get to do, as hard and fast as I can, because I really want to get home, because I don't want to sit in Starbucks. And I was able to get more done in that one focused hour than I was for dicking around with this business for 8 hours on how I was doing it. Literally, I could laser focus and get it done in 1 hour, what normally was taking me 8 hours. I'm not exaggerating. And I also, to like prove that point, I did something that I didn't know was possible for me during that season of no Wi-Fi at my house. I took my husband's business center from coach to diamond in 3 weeks. I enrolled 7 coaches in his organization in 3 weeks, and 2 of them, and one was my son, and I got him to emerald. I did that in 3 weeks. And it was because I was so laser focused with my time and energy, and I did not allow anything to distract me. And I was doing the stuff that was uncomfortable in terms of inviting. Okay. So my takeaways from that part of my situation, that season of my business, which is fairly recent, the last 2 years, is that you don't have to know how the sausage is made. So I didn't have to know, you don't have to know what goes in. Like, you don't have to know how to get to elite. You don't even know how to get to diamond. You just have to know that it's the recruit, hit Success Club, and teach who you recruited how to do what you just did. That's it. And then the soup will be made. The sausage will be made. And then most likely, I mean, I could just say almost with total certainty that you'll need to pivot in the how you are spending your time. Because just like when we work out, just like we all have a bent and a predisposition to take the easy way out, and to do it even unconsciously with things, that we do that with our businesses. So I bet you if you did a forensic analysis on how you're spending your time, you would need to pivot and turn on its head how you're spending your time. And then connect corporate. So that means if there are regional groups in your area, if you're diamond rank, get involved with those pages. Just even if you like a bunch of comments. And side note, the Beachbody Champions page this last year has been pure, just off the hook fire. The content in there, it didn't used to be. It didn't used to be. So now that's a place that I want my coaches that are that have big goals. I want them nourishing their businesses by feeding on content in Beachbody Champions. Yeah, so that's it for that time in my business, last couple of years. That brings me to today. I'm trying to hit elite for the 3rd year in a row. I don't know if I will, but I did want to tell you guys this, and then I'll open it up for questions. You have to find a vehicle in your situation where new, I like this analogy because at that house where I had no Wi-Fi, we had a hot tub. It was so awesome. And my husband would do the maintenance on the hot tub, and it would, water would evaporate. It was our first time ever having a hot tub. Water would evaporate. And if he didn't do the chemicals right, it would get all slimy, right? It would get like gross. And so there was a learning curve. There was a learning curve there. And so, but we loved being in it, but it wasn't always perfect. And so he had to always add water because of the evaporation. And then if he wasn't putting in the right ingredients, it would get slimy. And I was like, this is such a good analogy to our businesses. If you're not, there is an attrition rate, you guys. There just is. That's part of network marketing, no matter what company you're involved with. So if you're not adding new water, you're going to diminish. And so you have to be adding new water, meaning new coaches to your organization always, and new people to your network. Your network, you need to always be adding new. There will be evaporation. People that are seeing your stuff that are just not really interested because they'd really rather get into lipstick. So you have to continue to add water. You have to be adding to your networks, because some of you do multiple platforms. And then you have to have a vehicle for you to be doing that and to be reaching those people. So for me, actually teaching classes is helpful for my business. It helps me stand out in the community as a go-to person for, hey, I need to lose weight. And, people see, I meet new people every day in the gym, in my class. Usually I meet 1 or 2 new people every day of my life that are there because they want to lose weight and get in shape. So that's my vehicle. It's not going to be for everyone. It's really, truly not. There's no way. Maybe there's people that Facebook Live daily and are hysterical and fun and witty and like, that's their vehicle. There's people that blog and that's how they do it. But we have to find some way that is in our wheelhouse. Like if I have a coach that's introverted and quiet and not sure of themselves, am I going to recommend that they Facebook Live every day? No, that's not going to be where they're strongest. So we have to find a way. I mean, even if it's like a side gig of being an amateur photographer. I mean, there's so many ways. We have to find a way. And then I was going to say that I don't have really impressive stats in terms of like, if you were to look at my social media, I haven't maxed out my Facebook. I'm close, but I haven't. I have 4,000 now followers on my Instagram, which is great for me from where it was, but that's not that impressive in terms of, top coaches in the network and other elite coaches. I'm not organized yet with my email. I haven't figured out like a system. I don't do a newsletter. I want to. Let's see. What else was I going to mention on that? Oh, I don't do scripts. I don't do scripts to people. So I'm finding that people though are interested in joining me because I have narrowed my focus. I know I need to wrap up here, so I'll wrap up here quickly. I'm sure you've heard this from others, but I don't follow anyone else on social. Like I don't follow the Amy Silvermans of the business, or the Melanie Mitros. I don't follow them. I do ask my new coaches to look at their stuff and to be inspired and to get ideas and to try to figure out an identity in the business that they are attracted to. But then I'm at a point where that isn't good for me to do. So I end up finding myself thinking that I need to be like them. And so I start kind of crafting my posts. Like now, sometimes I get their sponsored ads in my feed now. I'll get like a sponsored ad from Mindy Lawhorn or whoever. And Trina Gray, Julie Voris. I get them. They pop up in my feed. I won't even read them because I'm sponsoring ads. And I don't want to adopt their language, and I just want to be me. And if that doesn't work, then why am I doing this? Like if I can't be me and be successful, then I'm in the wrong business. So, and I'm finding, you guys, that I can, and we can. So I'm finding that people are like, yeah, like this conversation happened this week. Well, I'm talking to Barbie Decker. Barbie Decker's been reaching out to me about, sorry, this is being recorded, but Barbie Decker's reaching out. She's precious, by the way. Looks like a Barbie doll, married to Sagi. She's an eloquent speaker. She just spoke at Summit in one of our leadership seminars. Talking to Barbie Decker about coaching, but I'm really more drawn to you. I'm like, what? Me? But it's because I'm just being me. And so you guys, we're all just us at the end of the day, and very special. And so I'm trying to narrow, just be me, and just figure out how to grow and find people like me. So my concluding thoughts were that you've got to add that fresh water to your hot tub. So you have to be growing. That means in terms of to your network, but also to recruiting coaches to your team. You've got to figure out a way that is just your way, with your wheelhouse, where you're strong. Anything else wouldn't feel good, and you probably wouldn't be as successful. And maybe it's not intuitive what your way is right away. So that could take some figuring out. And then this business has to be about solving the problem in someone's life. It has to be that simple. And so if it hasn't solved a problem in your life, it's not going to be an authentic, you don't have an authentic solution. So that's not to discourage you, because perhaps you're new. So finding a solution in fitness, in finance, maybe a little bit in both, finding a solution, finding a story, and then you have to find the people that need that very same thing. And then it's an easy alignment. It's an easy sell. It's an easy partnership. It's, I got this. I've been there. Trust me. I've got what you need. So I don't know. That's all I've got. I know it's kind of out of time. I don't know if you guys have time for questions or not. That's up to Holly.
Oh, totally. I mean, amazing. Thank you so much. Really, really good stuff. So what I'm going to do is I will unmute everybody. Okay. So if you want to be remuted, just like scroll over your screen and you can remute yourself. But I'm going to start by unmuting everybody. That way, if you have a question or comments, I'm almost done unmuting everybody. That way, if you have a question or comment or anything, you can feel free. I think I got everybody there. Okay. All right. Good. It looks like some people remuted themselves. That's fine. So if you have a question, and if you're like, if you start talking and you notice we're not paying attention to you, then do this. Okay? All right. Cool. Thank you, Ellen. Oh my gosh. So a couple things that you said really, really, really resonated with me was like the 80-20. So immediately what happens is like once you do recruit a couple of business builders, your focus immediately goes, boom, 80% on your team. And then what ends up happening is you forget about, the inviting, the way that you got to that point to begin with. And it's so natural, especially for those of us who love to manage. I love management. So like I love that part, but I'm always reminding myself, get back into the inviting stage. That's really, really important. And the other thing that really, really hit me and resonated with me is the fact about not being distracted by other successful coaches. Because so many times, like I've had coaches, and unfortunately they're the ones who don't usually stick around, but they're like, oh my God, did you see what so-and-so posted? Did you see what so-and-so posted? Did you see what so? And I'm always like, and at first I felt bad, like maybe I was doing a bad job of researching, because this was in the beginning years, but then they didn't stick around because all of this stuff is so overwhelming. And I would just tell them, no, I kind of have my blinders on and I'm just doing what I know I need to do in order to be successful. But then at the same token, I thought, am I missing out on something? But here we are 9 years later, and I don't feel like I've missed out on anything. And here's my point. If you want to be, I used to be a gymnast, so I can relate a lot of things to that. If you want to be an Olympic gymnast, you cannot train like an Olympian trains if you've never done gymnastics. You have to train like a beginner trains. If you're a beginner, you have to do those things first. And then you have to move up through the ranks. So like, if you're an Emerald coach, no, you can't be doing what Barbie Decker does. You can't be doing what Christine does. You can't. Your business will change and grow throughout the years. So that's what I have with my 2 cents there. In the beginning stages, you do the basic things, the first couple years, but you always come back to that 80% inviting. So thank you so much for sharing all that. Now I'm going to pipe up.
So good. I was going to say, I think I heard Shalene say this once. I think it was her, but that follow someone that's just barely more successful than you. Duplicate, follow, emulate someone that's just barely more successful than you, rather than, exactly trying to do exactly what, Raina Odell is doing or something like that. Yeah. The other thing is that I wanted to piggyback off of is getting overwhelmed and seeing how everyone has all these great tactics. The Beachbody Champions page that I told you guys to go dive into, it can be like that. It can be like, oh, I'm not cut out. You can really quickly be like, I'm not cut out for this because, oh my gosh, because all the speakers that come on and do their lives in there are incredible at whatever they're talking about. They found their wheelhouse. And so it's really, and then they're all talking about different different things they do. And I just take the meat, spit out the bones. Like take one little thing away and know that their way might not be your way.
That's great. Okay, who has a question or comment? Go, Betty.
And sorry, I'm just getting situated. I left the house without all of my media. Sorry. It's funny that you said that because I was watching Gitana Jackson's training on social media. And then I started following her Insta stories just to get idea because I've never done an Insta story before and didn't really know what it was. I never clicked on the little bubbles on the top. And I watched her and went, whoa, I can't be her. I can't do her. I am so not there at all. But I tried to get a little nuggets about how to do what she's doing, but not do what she's doing. And I think that's the difference is she like has calls to action and she has other things. And Ellen has had some and hers are more, I don't want to say down to earth because you're definitely not, I would never call you that. But she's like, I don't know. She's like off this way. I would never attract those kinds of people. I would never gel with anyway. So I watched everybody's, but I can't be Ellen and I can't be Gitana. They're wildly successful and I would love to emulate them. I'm just not them. And I can't do that. So, but lots of nuggets to be had. Absolutely.
Yeah, so like that's why I would say take a bite of meat and spit out the rest right now.
Yeah.
So the bite of meat would be just start doing Instagram stories. That's it. Like just start doing an Instagram story. And on the note of Instagram stories, on my Instagram, like you don't look at it and think, oh, this person is a Beachbody coach. You would rarely see my feed if you looked at it and think that. Every once in a while, you might, because every once in a while, you'll see maybe a 3-day refresh box on my table or something like that. But for the most part, you're just seeing trying to see like the health and wellness side of me and my tattoos. But the stories are where I'm pretty out there with product because they disappear and they are my day-to-day life. So like I try to show my shake in my story every day because that's, if people are going to take the time to look at my story, they are already interested in me because that's like the behind the scenes of me. So I'm probably not going to lose them. Whereas if I was posting a picture of it, I would likely lose someone that didn't know and trust me. And there was something to what I just said about the tattoos. As far as social media, it's really helpful to find something about you. Maybe it's the kind of dog you have or the kind of car you drive or the fact that you like to quilt. I don't know, but something niche about you. That is really, 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 really important for adding to your pool. Super, 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 super important. So I am telling you guys, I am finding people that are interested in tattoos, large scale tattoos or Japanese tattoos or like those people are interested in me because I'm doing that. And so now I'm finding people in the UK that are interested in, like I'm searching for tattoo artists in the UK. I'm finding them in London and Scotland. And then I'm looking at who they're tattooing that are in their areas and I'm following them, and guess what? They sure as heck want to follow me because we speak the same language. And so if you can find something like that, it's a really big deal.
So when you have on Instagram, this was my question is when you I'm starting to get followers and people that I'm also following. Do you follow everyone that follows you? Because I find some people I've had 2 people that are following me that are like Herbalife distributors. I have no intention of following them.
No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
So I'm trying to be a little bit more selective. Like there's some people like I
do stalk them all and I follow women. I don't follow guys. I mean, I have a couple of really cool guys, as you know, Betty, on my team that are wonderful. As you know, Holly, like they're awesome, but that's not my market. I'm happy. I'm glad I have cool men on the team, but I really want to work with women. And so I follow women and women that look like they might, be someone I would want to hang out with. If they look like someone I would want to hang out with, or they post things that I think are funny or attractive, I follow them.
Uh-oh, where'd you go?
Cool.
Thank you.
Oh,
any other Go ahead.
And then I message them. If you go to their page at the very top.
George, you need to mute.
Got him.
Oh, at the very top of someone's Instagram account, you can hit the message button and it will message them privately. And so I do say things, and this is kind of redundant if you did hear Tana's call. I think it was, yeah. No, maybe it was the girl before that, whatever. It was kind of redundant from a recent National Wake Up Call, but I do send a message. No, it wasn't the Jitana call. It was someone else, but that says that it's just paying a compliment. Like, I really like your vibe. Anytime someone follows me and it's a girl and it's not like an Herbalife distributor, like anytime someone like that follows me, I will message them and say, thank you so much for following me, following my IG account. And then I compliment something about their account.
Okay.
And then I finish with something like, it's so cool how we can meet people like us online or something like that.
Okay.
So it's just, and then some people, Mike wrote something in the chat. So I have a lot of those conversations going right now that are just new people on Instagram.
And I have a few creepers that it's like, they're creeps. I mean, they're creeps.
Totally.
And I didn't even know what the DM existed until I heard it on Jaytana's call. And I went, oh, you can message on IG. And I opened up and I had 2 messages and I was like, oh, I'm not answering these messages.
Yeah. And there's a lot of spam too, a lot of spammy accounts. So if you notice your numbers of followers goes down and fluctuates, I'm like, who cares? As long as there's a general trend that it's increasing. Like, I woke up this morning and my amount of followers is down. We get a lot of spammers, and they're yeah. So I never let it bother me if I have less people following me one day. I'm like, good. Hopefully it was some of those spammy people stopped.
Cool. Well, anybody else have a comment, question before we wrap up for the day? Okay, go.
Yes, Ellen, I just wanted to thank you. I mean, and I know I apologize for the flipping of the pages. I didn't know it was picking up, but I made a lot of notes. And like Holly was saying, I think like you were saying about the switch, okay, was the 80-20.
Yeah.
I have heard it, and I've heard it. Even from my own daughter, I have heard it. And just the way that you said on flipping the switch, the 80% on, concentrating on the invites and the new people, it just was that flip of the switch for me. So, and the other thing was that you had hit Success Club. You're talking about the 3 things. I don't even know what elite is. I mean, I'm just trying to get from emerald to diamond. I don't even know how to do that. So, but the fact that you said hit the Success Club, recruit new coaches, and then train them to redo what you've already done. And it was like, bing,
that's it.
The light went on and go, okay, all I have to do is do this and let the rest take care of itself, and the sausage will be there when I want it.
That's exactly right. That is exactly what it is. That is exactly what it comes down to. I love it. And
Thank you.
That switch went off for me when it was explained that very same way. One way I've talked to my team about, because I think it's something we have to keep getting in check. I think it's something that, like, we just have to keep rechecking and reassessing. In fact, to be in the spirit of transparency, I feel like I'm right now in just like a little bit of a lax on the dial in your power hour, like get it done. Spend the, I just think we tend to be lazy, all of us. I think we have that's part of our nature. And so I give them this analogy. It's like when we're doing a push-up, naturally, like if I'm teaching a class and people are doing push-ups or I'm doing a push-up, you tend to see people starting to drop their heads down. Or if they're doing a bicep curl, you tend to see their elbows coming forward and they start to do that swinging thing, or, all these little things, because it's the body's way of subconsciously trying to make it easier. So on a push-up, you think, oh, I'm done. I can come back up now, because your head is low, not because your chest is low. It's cheating. It's cheating, and it made it easier. Same thing on a bicep curl. That's the reason we swing, is because we can, our shoulders are helping when we bring our elbows forward. So it's the same thing with business. we start cheating, and we would get more out of the move or more out of the business activity if we had good form. So good form in this business is, for us right now, is that 80-20. Now, if you're a top 10 coach, it is more like 50-50, but we're not there. We are in that 80-20. 80% of it needs to be the uncomfortable, inviting, ears back over the shoulders when we're doing push-ups, good form, and less time. The silver lining of that is it takes a lot less time. It's like doing high-intensity interval training takes a lot less time to get it done than going out for a 10-mile run.
Good.
Cool. And I didn't know, George, I didn't know you were the one making all the noise until they called you out and threw you under the bus. I didn't know.
Sorry.
I was trying to figure it out. I thought maybe it was Ellen, because she would kind of go like I was like, is she looking at notes? I was trying to figure it out, but
Sorry, honey.
no, it's okay. I just didn't want to mute anybody if they were ready to like jump in and talk. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, so cool. Very, very, very cool. Well, Ellen, thank you so much. And I'm excited to, obviously do a trade-off with you, and, just let me know what you want me to talk about whenever.
Okay.
And, yeah, I'm stoked. So we're hoping to do a lot more of these. Most of my diamonds are not available on Sunday mornings. So we might have to figure that one out and get creative, but I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time, Ellen. And it was fantastic. So we learned from everybody. We learned from everybody, even your brand new coach, you guys. You're going to learn from that person. We have to take things from everybody. And like Ellen said, take in the meat, spit out the bones, whatever. I love all your little analogies. Those are so fun. So cool. With that, we're going to wrap. We're going to have a wonderful week, you guys. If you're in Cup, which I think everybody is almost, then push. No, don't throw in the towel until the fat lady sings Thursday night. Like, just push. I don't care if you're at 0, push. Like, amazing things happen when you set a deadline, when you set your sights on something, and when you throw everything else out. You're like, okay, I'm not going to focus on anything else except for this one goal. What can I not do for the next couple of days in order to focus on this one goal? What can wait till Friday so I can focus on this one goal? So get creative. And let's hit Success Club, and let's kick butt in Team Cup, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.